Yeah. Happy Thursday, you guys. Welcome to our weekly team call. Tonight we're going to be talking about time management and really ways to what am I trying to say here? Successfully work your business within pockets and getting rid of distractions and just being more productive with your business building time. But before we dive into that, we're going to do some recognition really quick. Okay. Can you guys see my screen? I actually realized I didn't post all the recognition, so I'm just going to share with the Success Club boards. But our top coach of this week is Amber Barrett, Success Club 29, rockin' Team Cup month. I know for a fact that her Team Cup team last week was number 15 or 16, I think, in the West region. I remember seeing that name, Team Fit for Business, on the West region recognition boards, which is really exciting. And then in Success Club, we have Jacqueline Cook at Success Club 16, myself at Success Club 14, Amanda Dart, Success Club 6, Megan McGinnis, Success Club 6. And then on the board, we have Caitlin, Success Club 4, Tiffany, Success Club 4, Kelsey, Success Club 4, Josie, Success Club 4, Madison, Success Club 4, Rachel, Success Club 4, Emily, Success Club 4, Eden, Success Club 2, Ann, Success Club 2, Erica at Success Club 2, Leslie at Success Club 2, Cass at Success Club 2, Lindsay at Success Club 2, Rachel at Success Club 2, Brianna at Success Club 2, Tara at Success Club 2, Jennifer at Success Club 2, Loea at Success Club 2, and Mallory at Success Club 2. So it would be really cool because we officially have 11 days left in this month, including today, to see all these people with points on the board over under the Success Club. It's Team Cup month. You've got promo codes and everything. MBF is still on sale for $160. And remember with this too, even if you don't have points on the board yet, especially if you're on a Team Cup team, you're not just doing it for you this month. Your team is relying on you. And when you guys all hit Success Club, then you get that director's chair, which is a really cool little Beachbody swag thing. And you just are building momentum. I think it's really important to remember this time of year sets the tone for the rest of this year and how you go into January. And so I don't want you to think Success Club isn't the end all be all, but it is the building blocks for this business. When you are hitting Success Club every month, that means that you are helping at least 3 people get started. You're earning back your Shakeology every month, and you are building a business and building a client base. You're helping people, and long term, that's going to lead to a big business if you stay consistent with that. So it's really important that you make it a non-negotiable and make it happen. But Amber and I had been hearing a lot of people struggling with time management issues. And before we dive into that, I really want to just encourage you guys, when you are working your business, to work your business. Cut out your distractions, cut out scrolling. If you go to Google Chrome and log on to Facebook through there, you can do something called Kill My Newsfeed on Facebook, so you don't endlessly scroll Facebook and you don't get stuck in that. I think an issue is especially part of our job is connecting and building relationships, and within that we can get sucked into watching people's stories just for fun and the endless scroll. So be very diligent and be very protective of your time. And when you say you're going to spend time building your business, be very diligent about using the Success Club tracker, not scrolling, not doing other things, just doing business building things. This will also help you take your business more seriously, and other people take your business more seriously too. Because if you have other people in your life who just think you're doing some fun thing on the side, and they just see you scrolling your phone all the time, they don't understand that you are here building a business. So I think a big part of time management is getting very intentional with your time and very aware of what you're doing and how you're spending your time. So also just taking an inventory. If you don't have a planner, then you can do this in the note section of your phone, and throughout the day, if you're not working another job, or even if you are, be mindful of when you're getting on your phone, when you're actually working, and what your day looks like. Because I think sometimes we don't think we have enough time to build this business, but the reality is we're just not working smart enough. you're not like being aware of how much time you're spending doing other things, whether it's scrolling Facebook or looking at Netflix or doing other like times where you could be using it to build your business. So I want to challenge everybody watching or listening to the recording to like take inventory of your day and look at your day and look at where you could use the time that you are just like chilling or doing other things to be working your business. And I'm not saying this has to be like your whole life by any means, but if you have serious goals in this business of like diamond and above, or like, you know, retiring yourself from your job that you don't like, or that you want a substantial income with this, like you have to be serious about your time and what you put in for at least 1 to 3 years. And I really want you guys to think about what you may sacrifice for 1 to 3 years in order to live a life differently than anybody else for the next like 5 to 10, and what you can do with this business. So don't think about it as, oh, this business is like taking up my life. Think about it as I'm sacrificing things that don't necessarily meet my goals or my priorities. Like if they don't align with your goals, if you're doing things throughout the day, whether it's scrolling Instagram, Facebook, watching Netflix, reading Reddit, I'm trying to think other things, like hanging out with your friends. I'm not saying don't do those things, but like if the things that you're doing throughout the day don't align with your goals, like get serious about the activities that do align with your goals and get like focused on those things, and short-term sacrifice for a long-term vision, long-term dreams, long-term success. I think that's the biggest issue I have with people who come to me telling me that, you know, they're not seeing success in their business or they don't have time. The reality is we all have time. We're all freaking busy, like full-time single mom here. You know, like I have Rowan's grandma helping me with him today, but like I work in pockets and I'm trying to be present with my son, and I have other things to take care of too. But like it's about being diligent in other areas and like just focused when I am working. So I wanted to touch on that before we dive fully into time management. So
I'll go next. So I agree with everything Kate said, clearly, but I think and I thought maybe we could share how me and Kate started this business, like what our lives look like and how we fit our business in and what that looked like. And then maybe some of you guys can talk about how you're fitting it in right now, because I know a lot of you are moms or working other jobs or, you know, have other things going on. And then maybe we can even help each other figure out where you can be prioritizing some time. But what I was going to say was, I think it's important, like how she said, to focus on the long-term goal. So right now that can feel really big and like, sure, yeah, that'd be great to make all this money with Beachbody and quit my job. But I think what's important to keep you motivated and willing to skip the Netflix and willing to, you know, not zone out and actually like do some invites and show up on your social media, like do the work, is to really have a goal in mind. And I think in the beginning, to know clearly, what are you working on right now? So like, if you're not Emerald, it needs to be Emerald. You know, if you're not in Success Club, it needs to be Success Club. So for me, when I was busy working a full-time job, so like, let me just share with you guys what my life looked like. A lot of you guys know, but for anyone that doesn't know. So I worked in the salon like 50 hours a week. I worked 5 days a week, but like 10 hours a day. I had a 4-year-old son that I split custody with. So he did go to his dad's half the time. So on nights that I got off work and had my son, I obviously was like with him, you know, but then on nights that I didn't have my son, I would work longer hours at the salon. And so there was like no time to work a business, but because I was so motivated by my results with Beachbody, like I didn't want to stop. And then Kate told me to become Emerald. So I became Emerald my first week. And then after that, I knew I needed to help 3 people a month and get new coaches. I remember really early on in my business, before I knew what my big goals were, Amy Silverman, I earned like a call with Amy Silverman, and I was so nervous and I just fell. I think she's fine. And she told me, well, you need to recruit 2 to 3 coaches a month. And I was like, what? She's like, if you want to grow with this. And I remember saying then, which I still say now, and everyone always says, Violet, careful. I can't find people to work the business. And she said, well, you have to talk about the business, and you just have to be recruiting 2 to 3 coaches. So I was like, all right, that's my goal. Like, I don't know what I'm doing, but that's what I'm focused on. Getting Success Club, keeping my Emerald, and getting new coaches. So, you know, I was busy, but like I knew I needed to show up on social media. Like I knew I needed to share what I was doing, invite to have a group at least once a month. I had to have a group that I was inviting to. So like that was my bare minimum, you know, like I worked after work instead of like, so before Beachbody, I would get home from, if I didn't have my son, I would get off work and go with girls from work to get a drink. We'd go get dinner and we'd get some drinks. And then I would like come home at 10 or 11 at night, sometimes have some more drinks, wake up, go to work the next day. If I had my son, then I would get off work, go get him, go home, get him to bed, then drink by myself or with my ex and watch Netflix. That's what everybody does, right? So then Beachbody came into play. Same life, but instead of watching the Netflix and drinking alcohol, I would tell my partner, hey, I'm just going to check in with my group and do this for like 30 minutes. So then he would just like be on his phone and I was clear with him what I was doing. He knew what I was working on. And then I would have like, if I wanted to have a drink or have time with him, then we'd watch the Netflix. But it was like prioritize the invites, get that in, get that over with. But also it was like checking in with my challenge group. Like that was part of it too, you guys. So then I would like do that. And then I would try to, you know, do my workout, try to do it before work, take some sweaty selfies. And then I would get to work. And then anytime, and I didn't have like an office job. So I wasn't like, there was no downtime. It was like in between clients. If I was like stuffing my face with food, I would be on my phone, like answering a DM and posting. Because I'd be like, well, I took that selfie earlier. I'll like post it real quick. And then at the end of the day is when I would like actually invite people and like answer my emails and check in with my group. And then on nights that I didn't have my son, I didn't go out after work and have drinks, partly because they didn't align with my fitness goals anymore, but partly because I was fired up and excited about what my goal was. Like, I didn't know where it was going to lead me, but I was really enjoying it. And then once I got to Emerald, then I knew I was pushing for Diamond. So then that was the next goal, you know? So I just worked towards whatever goal it was. And I kind of felt like I couldn't relax until I met my goal. That's me. That's personal. That's just like, I felt like then I could enjoy the Netflix, enjoy all the things. I'm not saying you can't enjoy your life. I'm just saying that if you have a goal and you're like, no matter what, I'm meeting the goal. Like if you really feel that way, then no matter what, you're going to meet the goal. And I remember thinking, I got Success Club 5-10 my first month. And then I remember thinking, if I have to buy a challenge pack for someone to get Success Club 10, I will. I've never had to do that, except for the time I signed up my ex as a coach. I bought his challenge pack. But I never had to do that. But I remember like, that was my no matter what it takes mentality, you know? So I think I'm sorry, I just went on a huge tangent, but I just wanted to kind of paint the picture of what my life looked like. And I didn't look at it like, oh God, now I have to do Beachbody, you know, like I really was like, okay, sweet. Like, I almost feel like I was more productive when I had smaller pockets. Cause I was like, I've got 10 minutes while this client's processing. I got to send this like person a message, or I've got 30 minutes before I have to pick up my son, or I've got, you know, I told my ex that I was going to be done and I want to respect him. So I'm going to be done when like, you know, so like, I felt like I was like pushed like to do it faster if I knew I had small pockets. And then now my life looks a lot different because, you know, I'm doing this full time, but I have Violet and I'm working between, basically I get up super early before the kids wake up and I prioritize my workout. And then I do a little bit of like messaging back and forth after, and then I do work during her nap time. So that's like when I'm, you know, working on a newsletter or sending emails and stuff. I try not to work late at night because I'm just toast. My brain doesn't work. Like, but I'm getting up at 5:36 in the morning when I used to work in the salon, I didn't get up that early. So it wasn't as hard for me to work at night after work. But that's what my life looked like then. That's what it looks like now. I don't even know how many hours you could say that I work, because I think when you're an entrepreneur, you are working a lot. And I think it's really easy to like, you have to set those boundaries for yourself. And like Kate said, you know, honor your business hours, because you don't want to be that person that's always plugged in and always. Somebody was talking in our chat, one of our chats today. Who was it? Samantha? And she was saying, I just feel this like urgency to respond to people right away. And I told her that to try not to get into that trap of feeling like you have to answer your customers, your coaches, everybody ASAP. Like, throughout the day, if I'm DMing people and somebody says they're interested or I send an invite or something happens, I just put them in my general folder to get back to later. And then at one time in the day is when I'm like actively asking for emails and emailing people and messaging people back. I leave people unread sometimes for a couple hours because mentally I'm like, later, I'll get to that. And I think as long as you're responding to people within 24 to 48 hours, they're going to respect your time. Like if anything, like Kate didn't get back to me quick enough when I wanted to sign up with a challenge. In fact, she didn't answer me like that night. And it just made me like more excited and like more, I don't know. Like, I just feel like you want to set the tone for expectations. You don't want people to think you're just going to drop everything in every moment of the day to answer them. You know, people need to respect your time. Have I been that person? Yeah, I always answer you guys like right away because I'm just like always on my phone. But I just want you to not feel compelled to like stop what you're doing, ignore your family, like, you know, ignore your partner. Like, don't do that. Like, set those hours, and whoever's DM is waiting for you or whoever's email, like, they will be fine for 3 to 12 hours. Like, they will be okay. If they went and signed up with someone else in that period of time, that's kind of crazy. And like, maybe you don't want to work with that person. So that's my spiel. Sorry I talk so much, but yeah.
No, and I want to do like a quick show of hands. Who has their notifications turned on for their email, Instagram, or Facebook on their phone? I want to raise your hand if you are somebody who has notifications on. Rachel, Emily, Cass. Okay, Jesse. Anyone else? Nobody? You guys are good. So I've had this conversation with a couple of my coaches recently on one-on-ones. This is something that Amy sat me down with when I actually was a new diamond coach, because I was like, she said I was addicted to my phone, and we all are, because we literally get like endorphins, like happy endorphins when we get a notification, just based off of like society and how we built ourselves around our phones and technology now. And one thing that I learned from Amy early on is like when her and Kevin are like unplugged, her phone is in the other room. She doesn't look at it. And she like was like, Caitlin, you're giving me anxiety with how quickly like you feel the need to respond to people. So one thing that she told me to do, and now that I'm going to tell you guys to have your notifications on, to turn off your notifications, all of them, with the exception of like text messages. Turn off your email notifications, turn off Instagram, and turn off your Facebook. It is not serving you to have those on. It is just literally making you like a servant to your phone. And it also is annoying for other people around, because like you don't even realize you check your screen. You like check your screen, you click on it to see if there's a message there, to see if somebody likes something, to see if there's a message, like Instagram message, Facebook message, whatever. Like, it doesn't serve you to have those on. And again, you're setting those boundaries for your life, because and it also makes you more diligent to like respond when you are doing that time, when you do have that hour to like respond to messages, other than like having it on and looking at it and doing it throughout the day. When you actually have your like business hours, or like your 10 minutes where you're going to respond to messages, you get those 10 minutes, you do that, and then you leave it alone because you're not paying attention to those likes, comments, of messages, emails. Like, I really want to encourage everybody. I know it's hard. Like, literally, you'll hate me for the first week, but after that, you can take like a deep breath, because it feels so good. Like, I'm a person, again, I wanted to do it, and Amy like watched me. She made me sit there and like turn off my notifications in front of her. And then I stayed at her house in Bend for like the weekend. Actually, I think this was the weekend that Amber signed up as a coach. Actually, because it was right when I went diamond. And I was down there, and she like made me like turn off my notifications. And then like, I was literally like twitching for the first 2 days. I kept like looking for them. I would click the screen and like look. So you're going to hate me if you're somebody who like does it, and it's just a pattern that you get into. But again, it's about also like quality of life. Like, your quality of life will get so much better by turning off those notifications for everything except for text messages and calls, obviously, but it just feels better. So I want to encourage you guys to do that. And going back to, you know, what my life looked like when I first got started, I was working at a bake shop. I was quitting that job though, because I hated my life there. And then I got started as a Starbucks barista, and I had like an open schedule. So I would either open or I would close. I worked 40 plus hours a week because I had an open schedule and I was new. So I was doing all the things. So I worked my business a lot of the time late at night. I would spend like an hour a day when I got home, I'd do my workout and then I would work. I would spend time connecting, and then I would spend time inviting and following up and like checking in with my challenge group. And that was just my rhythm. I had a conversation with my boyfriend at the time who I was living with, like, this is when I'm working, this is what. And then after, we would either, you know, go to bed or watch Netflix for like 30 minutes or whatever. So it was just like being very diligent. And then when I did have days off and my schedule was all wonky and all over the place, I would spend at least like an hour to 2 hours that day, if not longer, depending on what my day looked like, working. And I just like fit it into my life now as a, you know, single mom and having a baby full time. I work it in pockets. I haven't been good about waking up early, so I've been staying up late and working. And that, I mean, I'll work it throughout the day if Rowan is playing independently in the other room. If, you know, he's eating and I have a minute, I'll answer messages. If, you know, I'm waking up early or staying up, like I make sure I'm checking off my Success Club tracker every single day. Like, it's just a non-negotiable. Hi, Violet. You know, like I just make it a non-negotiable every single day, because until you make it a non-negotiable, like it's not gonna be a priority for you. Like, it has to be to where you can't go to bed at night until you get those things done. Like, that's when your goals become a reality, is when you're willing to like make those sacrifices for it. So sometimes like I'm tired and I'm like, oh, I don't want to do those things, or you know, like he's napping, I rather just chill. But I have like really big goals that I'm working towards. And honestly, like, I don't love my apartment. I don't love where I'm living. I don't love like so many things. And I was feeling really defeated the other day. And I listened to this like motivational playlist. I'm sure you guys have heard me talk about it so many times. I've done it. I listen to it when I do my power hours. But there's one specific song, and it's not even a song, but it's like, seeing if I can find it really quick. It's like a song or whatever on Spotify. I can't find it. Liked songs. But it's like 4 minutes, and it by, of course it's not loading. This is really annoying. Anyways, but it talks like, it's just a motivational like speech for like 4 minutes, and it gets me fired up. And he talks about, you know, if you're not where you want to be in your life, in any area of your life, like, don't look at it as, look at what's happening to me. And I think this is really big with everything going on in the world right now. Like, if you're not where you want to be, the good thing is like, you have the ability to change it, like nobody else. And I really think about that a lot with this business, like how much potential we really have here. Like, going back to that long-term vision and what you want to accomplish, and like really think about what you want to leave for your family, for your kids, and like how you want your life to look 10 years from now. If you are willing to work to create it, like, you can have that with this business. And it breaks my heart to see so many people who are wishy-washy with their goals. They're like, give up on that because they're not willing to do the work, or they're so stuck in like complacency. And so you really have to challenge yourself in your mindset to like get out of that complacency mode, get out of the comfortability mode, get out of like getting stuck in your mindset of being like, oh, I have enough now. Because what you can do with this is life changing if you're willing to like do the work. So really thinking back to that long-term vision, and like every day when I don't feel like it, if I'm tired, if, you know, I didn't sleep well the night before because my baby woke up throughout the night to nurse, like, I'm still showing up, because I'm not doing it for what it's going to do today. I'm doing it for what it's going to do 5 years from now, 10 years from now, where my business is going to be in January. Like, everything you do, it's a compound effect. Everything you do matters, you guys. So I just want you to think about that. Like, whether you choose to show up for your invites or not, like, that realistically, like, is what your January, February, March is going to look like based on the efforts that you put in now. And even again, like a year from now. And I just want you to know that this business can change your life, and this can like give you the life that you never even dreamed of if you're willing to do the work. Most people aren't. So you have to decide if you're going to be one of those people who is going to work for it, or is going to only work for it when it's convenient. I think oftentimes, and I've gotten trapped in this too, is like, we have to wait till it's quiet to work, or we have to wait until we feel good, or we have the perfect lighting, or, you know, we're relaxed or whatever. Like, we're trying to create the perfect circumstances, but the perfect circumstances never happen, or like rarely happen. Like, you can't just work when it's convenient to work. You have to work because it's your job, and that's how you need to show up. Okay. now we can talk about everybody else's day. And like Amber said, like where you're kind of working, where, and maybe like talk through where you guys can find time to work.
I just wanted to add, Kate, though, I love what you just said about like if it's convenient or the perfect time, because none of us go, thank you, none of us go to, so say most of us either have a job or had a job, right? That's outside of Beachbody. And you don't have the luxury of being like, well, didn't feel right today to go to my, I don't know, I'm going to call out Amanda because I know she worked at a grocery store, you know, like, or when I did hair, you know, like I had days where I like just did not feel like it, but you put your game face on, and I'm not saying like be fake, but like, and also to be like consistency is key, to be the business activity tracker is key, but to also honor your own feelings. Like the consistency is going to be the most important part. But if you're having a day where you're just in a funk and you don't like, maybe that's not the best day to be doing all your invites, you know, like you're just like not feeling great, put on some PD and just take some cute pictures or think of some content material or, you know, catch up on a training that you haven't caught up on. Like some of those behind the scenes activities that are part of our job that don't give you immediate return, you know, like some of the things that I do for my job as a leader, I don't see return on immediately. And that's the same for you guys. So try to remember that. And then the days that you're like, I'm surrounded by children. If you have days that you're feeling like, you know, amped up, and that's the day you send multiple invites, you know, but it's about that like consistency over time. And if you are feeling like I can't do it today, try to just do some other things on the BAT or do the bare minimum. Be like, well, it's my job. I'm going to send at least 5 invites, you know, like maybe they're not the best invites, but they were just planting some seeds. So I just want to remind you guys of that. It's not about faking it and like being a fake person, but it's just about treating this like a real business and doing the activities every day, but also remembering that some days you're just going to feel like super pumped and want to talk to everybody about what we're doing. And it's like not even work. And then other days it's going to feel like work. It's going to not feel like, there's been times where I'm like, I don't want to check in with my challenge group. And then once I get in there, I'm like, I love my challenge group. So like, you know, you just kind of have to sometimes buck up. But yeah, what is everyone doing? Like maybe we can hear from some people that have been doing this a little longer that can talk about how I know Amanda's been very busy with school. I know Kayla's been very busy, like working like late nights. And so I'd love to hear from you guys. Who wants to go?
I'll go.
Sorry, I should have called them.
So I obviously I've had a struggle the last couple weeks and July and August, but I noticed that, so I've tried to like work in pockets, but for some reason I'm going back to my other job tomorrow. And for some reason I feel like when I'm working full time at my other job, I get more shit done because I'm like, okay, I have to do this like right away, versus like lately when my job was closed, I get into the habit of being like, okay, I'll start scrolling or whatever, and then I'll just say, oh, I'll do that later. And then hours go by and I never do it. Then I'm like, oh, well, I'll just get to that later because I have all day. And then I never do it. So I feel like that's been my struggle with time management, is that I feel like the busier that I am, the more stuff I get done, and it doesn't make any sense. So it's really frustrating, but I have noticed that and noticed that that's something I need to work on. And then even on my road trip that I just went on, I was like, I'm going to do all the things. And then I started getting caught up with family and not really doing it and putting my phone away, which was good at the same time. But like, I know I needed to work on that, but I am excited to, you know, try to get back to getting things done instead of like leaving it and be like, oh, I'll do it later. Cause like, it doesn't ever happen later for me. So that's what I got to say about that.
Okay, you said you haven't had a good couple of months, but you like had one of your coaches go Emerald. You always seem to hit Success Club, even if it's the end of the month. So I think you should give yourself a little more credit. But I agree 100%. Like the more time I have to work on Beachbody somehow, the more time goes by where I'm like, what happened all day? What did I even do? So when people tell me, it's a great objection. Like when someone tells you they're too busy to work this business, I'm like, busy people rule at this business. Busy people like are great at this. Yeah. But I think it's okay to kind of give yourself a little bit of like, okay, I was like traveling and like figuring things out, and now I'm going to get back to it. So we all have those ebbs and flows. And I would say that you're somebody that has a lot of consistency. So I know that it's not going to be an issue, but it's good to recognize those things too about yourself and be like, okay, well, I know I could have done better. I mean, I do the same thing all the time.
And I totally agree. And it's something that I'm constantly checking myself. And 2 personal development books that have really helped me is Eat That Frog. Because I think what it is, we're procrastinating. And so that's what it comes down to. So it's just like changing that behavior, like long term, because I don't know what your goal is long term, whether you want to do this full time or you want to, whatever your full time, like you find that time. So I think personal development, like the 5-second rule and like Eat That Frog, if you're somebody who struggles with procrastination anyways, just getting in the habit of, instead of saying you're going to do that later, like making that a non-negotiable to do that now. Cause it's a behavioral trait that the cool thing is I'm somebody who struggles with it too, but it's just like, again, deciding, like making that choice and like beating out your ego that in your brain says, I can do it later, instead just being like, no, I'm just going to do it now. But again, you are hitting Success Club. You are like making moves. So don't be so hard on yourself either.
I know I have a lot to catch up with though. I saw some of my coaches go inactive and I'm like, shit. But like now that I'm back and I'm going to fix it, whatever. But I've never heard of that book and I need to like look it up, because that's another thing I have been slacking on is my personal development and looking at books and things. So I'm going to look that up right now, actually.
I'll talk about a little bit about, so when I worked at a grocery store, I was a department manager and I worked like 40 to 60 hours a week, depending. I had weird schedules, like once a month I would have to work until like 1 a.m. and then have to be back at work at 7 a.m. And that happened once a month. And that takes a while to not feel like crap. After a while, it's like a whole week of recovery. I'm like in my mid-30s. Life is way different than in my 20s. And so what I would do, instead of like a full hour, I would just do pockets. So I would get like 2 15-minute breaks. I also, like, it helps, like I quit smoking and that was the only time I would take breaks. So I forced myself to eat food and just, whether like adding people, connecting, inviting, just spend those 2 15 minutes. And then I get a 30-minute break. So I would spend, I'm on my phone anyway. I'm going to be eating and on my phone anyway. I might as well be productive. And I would set a timer, and timers are like my life. And that's what I would do for work. So then when I get home, like, maybe I'd work a little bit more, like get back to people. Like that later in the evening thing would be just like getting back to people that responded to me while I'm at work, because I worked with food. It's not like I could be like, here's your food on the phone, like I had to be separate. And so, and so that's when I worked, 40 to 60 hours a week, and I was a lot more productive then. And now that I'm in school, like, I think I take average like 15 credits a term. And if like, that's pretty heavy load. That's about 4 or 5 classes a term. And now I go to school it's online. So I go to my bedroom and I take my iPad and I go to school from like 2 to 6, and I work like an hour at a time at school, eat food. So I keep myself like hyped. And then I spend an hour after I go to school, and I give myself an excuse to have another shot of Energize. So I shoot some Energize and I work for an hour. But some days I don't always feel like being on my phone for that hour. So I'll work out and then share the clips and then spend a little more time talking on my stories and just like that. And and I'm just like constantly like trying to study like the best way to communicate with an audience. So I'm like working on my platform all the time. So that's pretty much what I do. And every day is not great. And I could be, a total rock star at this point. I've been doing this for almost 4 years, but I've been like consistent for 4 years. I mean, like all sorts of things. So if there's anybody that ever feels like life is going to get in the way, I've been through a whole lot of stuff. Like I've been divorced, I've had a parent die, I've had a dog go paralyzed for like 2 months and all sorts of stuff. And yeah, anyway, it's doable. Just think of it as like, if you can't do 1 hour, do 20 minutes here, there, whatever feels right. And that's how I get through it. And I try to have fun and energize, like always. Like who doesn't want more energize? That's it.
I love that. When do you fit Al into that? What is Al doing when you're in school? Like, is it hard? Like, does he leave to go to work? What's he doing?
Yeah, he works, his schedule's weird. He works like every other day. He doesn't like have like 2 days off. So yeah, he's usually working, or a friend in school, he builds guitars. So he actually works at a guitar shop. So he just goes back to work and just does projects at his work. So yeah, I always just tell him like, hey, I'm gonna, like, school is easy because he knows he has a master's. He's like, oh yeah, I know how that goes. And then I just like, oh, I'm gonna be doing this. I don't know. He's like, he's just the most supportive, awesome person that I don't even like have to even, he's just like, yep, you're doing your thing. Like, but I mean, it helps that he like does these programs with me and he gets it, and he's like getting hella ripped with me.
I love that, because when you first started, you mentioned the divorce. I went through divorce in the beginning of my coaching career as well. And not all of us have super supportive partners. You have one now, which is awesome. And so, yeah, I think that's also something common. Like a lot of us that are in relationships, if you're single, it doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want. But if you're in a relationship, I think they don't have to, I would love to be with somebody that wanted to do the programs with me and like maybe even run the business with me. That would be like so cool. But at the same time, we all have to just at least be willing to communicate to our partners, because there can't be that like animosity or that contention. Is that a word? Because if you're on your phone, I mean, think about it. If you're with your friend and they're just like, it's like super sucks. Like I hate that, even when I'm with my friends, sometimes I won't story or do anything, and then I'll leave and be like, oh, we should have taken pictures, we should have storied. But because I'm consciously like, I'm with you, I want to like not be on my phone. Even though I'm on my phone all the time, you guys, like when I'm with you, I'm trying not to be like on my phone, unless I'm like, let's take a picture, I'm gonna story now. That's what I always say. Kate's heard me do that. Okay, you ready? I'm gonna story now. I was like announce it. My soda water. But my point is just like communicate with your partner so they know. So then there's not this like, what are you even doing? Why are you ignoring me? Why are you on your phone again?
And I think too, also like currently single, but I went through phases where like I thought I had a supportive partner, and he was somebody who like was sort of like pseudo supportive, like supportive when it met his needs, but then like had latent aggression towards my business. I found out when we broke up. But it's also like having those conversations, and again, with also like family and friends, and letting them know like your vision and your long-term goal, and that this can get you there. Whether it's family, whether it's significant other, whether it's your friends who, you're like, I really want to see you. I'll see you for this amount of time, but I also have to like work my business, and just be like, treat it like a business and like take it very seriously, because again, you have so much potential with this business, you guys. It can change your freaking life. And I want everybody to see that. Like, I think that's something that Amber and I've talked about often, is that we see so much potential in you guys, and you guys share your goals with us, and then get wishy-washy with the action steps, or like, get caught in the trap of like working when it's convenient, or give up. And it breaks our heart because we want it so badly for you guys, and we know what it can do. Or just like so passionate. I know Amber's going to be in this for life with me when we're like 60. We're going to be coaches, and we're going to have like sick houses and still, like do all the things. But like, we just want more people who, realize whether it is your goal to go full time or just have like an extra side income and diversify your income with this. Like, it doesn't have to be all or nothing, but it is like treating it like you had a waitressing job that you had to show up for. Again, like just treating it like that extra job that you're showing up for, and like treating that time that you're doing it seriously. And then like again, talking to those people in your life and letting them know that what you're working towards and what's possible with this. And then, like, I think sometimes we worry that people in our life don't take this business seriously because it's another MLM or they see us on our phone. But the only way to like help people take this business seriously is by you taking it seriously, and by you showing up, and by you putting in the work, and you bringing in those paychecks, and you making those changes, and like them seeing you recognized, and you know, your income growing and things like that. That will show them, like, with your diligence, your results from the programs, like the effort and the success that you see and how you treat your business will reflect in how others like take it seriously too. So I just want to like really drive it into, if you're struggling with like other people in your life not taking your business seriously, like look at how you're treating your business. Are you treating it like it's a hobby, or are you treating it like it's a possible 6-figure income, or some way that you can add an extra like $1,000 to your business a month, or like to your life a month? Beachbody doesn't guarantee any level of success income. It's all up to your diligence, skill, what you put in, you know, whatever you want to do with it. But like, I think sometimes I talk to people who are like, well, I have to get another job and I have to do this, or, you know, and they show up to that job every day, again, because you don't have an option. If you get a 9 to 5, like you have to show up. I want you to treat your time working your business like that. And then maybe you don't have to get that other job because you start bringing in that income with this business, if you're willing to like put in the work for that. But does anybody else want to share?
I just wanted to ask something, or I don't know, get some advice from you both. I was kind of having a moment today because I feel like I've been pouring a lot of creative energy like into coaching a lot lately, and like this flash sale that our team is hosting. And I feel like I'm doing that all the time. I get up early in the morning before my daughter, everyone else, getting my workouts, like coaching it all. And then when you don't hear from anyone, it's like crickets for over a week. Like, how do you, like, it's hard to get past that. Cause I had like a income salary career up until July, right? And I'm not teaching now because baby's coming, and it's like I work my ass off teaching and I see a paycheck, and now that's gone. And so when you work your ass off and don't consistently see a paycheck, like how do you get, because my husband sees me, he's super supportive. He's like, you do you, I'll watch the baby, like get your work done, right? And obviously he, you know, he wants this for me too, but I just getting past those walls that you hit, I don't know. I'm just wondering how, like, because you've been in it longer and been pushing longer, and what do you do to get past those like moments of like, shit, I'm putting so much energy in this and I'm hitting up all these people and I'm getting like nothing in return, like those times.
I want to ask you a question though. So you went Emerald last month, right?
Yes.
And you hit Success Club, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay. Can you share what you made last month?
I mean, I want to say like, oh, it wasn't, I mean, nothing compared to probably what you all are.
Okay. I'm just curious because I just want to point something out if I can.
Probably like 700-ish,
Okay. Okay. So
compared to like the month before, it was like 100, you know, which is, so, but then this month it's like 40 so far. So.
Okay. So I struggle with this sometimes too, but I want to encourage you to look at the big picture. If you think about, because you've been a coach for a while, but like, you were like doing the programs, but like it's pretty much, I would say last month is when you were like, I'm doing this, right? So right. If you look at like the last 8 weeks, so say you made a couple $100 and then you made 700, the month's not over yet. You've kept your Emerald. I think this flash sale and everything that you're doing right now is going to pay off. Like it's not going to, yes, it's going to take work, but I don't think you're going to feel this like, oh, this work for nothing. Like I get those feelings. And then it's like the next week, 3 people sign up. Like I can't guarantee that, but I think that like the work you're doing right now is laying the foundation for so much future stuff. So like, I think in 1 more month, we should just compare, okay, like what happened the second month I was Emerald and hitting Success Club. Because if you stay Emerald and hit Success Club, it's small amounts, but it goes up, up, up. Mm-hmm. And, then you're hitting Success Club 10, 8, 10, 12. Like if you keep doing the activities you're doing. And I know it's a lot. You're very pregnant as well. Like you just moved. Look at like your whole life too. Like you just went through a stressful thing. Like, so I'm not downplaying any of that. But I also think that some of that extra stuff is going to mellow out a little bit. I know you're gonna have a newborn not too long, but I think I get this way. And like Kate has to remind me like, well, how much, you know, look at your income progression, look at what your coaches are doing, look at what, you know, because I have those moments too where I'm like, I'm doing everything and nothing's working. And then, you know, Kate will be like, this and this is working, you know, and so it's not going to replace your teacher job yet, but it can. So
Yeah.
I think right now you're just in the thick of it. It's like you guys are doing a lot of work. You just moved. You know, there's a lot going on. But I think like after your flash sale, it's not flash sales also PS takes so much energy. Like I did one with Kate and we did one like with a couple people. I legit felt hungover for like 3 days afterwards. I like needed to, I was like, this is crazy. So I don't think you're always going to be doing flash sales and things like that. So I do think that you're going to find your groove and you're going to have these peaks where, oh God, there's like so much work. And then you're going to have this kind of like more like, I'm not doing as much yet. I'm signing people up.
Right.
And then it will even out. So I think congratulations, like $700 for your first month as an Emerald coach is freaking badass.
Yeah, thank you. And it is making me do like you know, having to go live. That was freaking scary. That was my first time and we did it. So I did it like Tuesday and today. Like those are scary things. I'm like, okay, I did it now. I can keep doing this. Working on those graphics. I did that. I can keep doing this. Like running another page on top of our other pages. So it is, like you said, building those foundational skills that like, I'm like, I can balance all these things at once. So,
yeah, and it's gonna feel like you said, going live, all those things, like the first few times you do them, it takes more energy, it feels more stressful, and then it starts to become a little easier. So you're doing a lot of new things too. So I think it's okay to just be like, this is intense, but I also think I'm just really proud of you. Keep your Emerald, hit Success Club. That's like my biggest advice, because then you're gonna consistently be something every week, because you're going to be getting those team bonus cycles, and that's that confirmation like, okay, like I'm going to keep going. Because if you didn't get a paycheck, I can understand how that would suck, you know. You'd be like, I did all this work and I didn't get anything. That's why it's so important to like maintain your rank.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so I have a couple of things, but before I forget, I want to say something because I totally forgot. We're going to do a flash sale. I'm still putting it together for Pumpkin Spice September 2nd, just so you guys know. And I'm trying to get other leaders and our diamonds to all like get it together. So it's not something everybody has to do, but know that that's going to happen. I'll try to post the details later this week. Also, while I'm thinking about it, we're doing a 3-day Emerald push for anybody who's not Emerald or wants to be Emerald, starting Monday through Wednesday for Set Your Soul on Fire. And the information was just posted about that. So I want you guys to know about that. And now back to Tara. Okay. So you've been a coach for a while, but you were only in this 1 month. Again, I really want to stress you guys, this business does not happen overnight. Your income, like that is incredible. $700 a month as a new coach or as a coach, it is like your start date. Like I think they talked about this on a national wake up call recently, from like, you have like your sign up date and then you have your start date. Your start date was last month. Don't think about all that previous stuff. And anybody who's like worked their business and like hot or like you posted, but you didn't actually start working until the month that you're inviting, you're following up, you're doing the Success Club tracker, that is your start month. $700 in any form of business that you just started, like that's what you made. Like normally people don't make money their first month of actual business. Like they earn back their investment. So you not only made money, but you made a profit. But that is not like the average. That's not whatever. So you have to, and I know it's especially hard because you've already stopped this other job, but you have to realize like this business takes time. It takes time to build that residual income that's going to happen over time, especially, and it's not just with diamond either. It takes like a strong diamond, 1-star, 2-star, like that 2-star is really where you're going to see that long-term success and with your business. So like be mindful of that, like be mindful of, again, it takes time. Like you cannot, and I always tell people like give this business 6 months to a year and like work it. Like it's, unfortunately, it's not a business where sometimes, you know, you'll talk to somebody and they'll be ready to start. But on average, it takes somebody like 7 to 9 times hearing something before they decide to purchase. So continue like to show up, continue to be consistent, continue to invite and follow up with people. And like the more people you invite, the more seeds that you plant. Again, it's not just planting seeds for this month, it's next month, it's through January. Like that is what you're doing. You're building a foundation, going back to like that foundational piece. But like don't think about throwing in the towel yet, because again, your start date was last month. Like that's when you really started. And that was incredible. that $700 month, because again, it's not common. I think Amber's first paycheck, when she actually, like, I think it was 2 weeks in, she made like $350 for your first paycheck. I remember that text, and I was like floored because I hadn't seen a new coach make that, but it takes time to build that consistently. And you guys can't compare like where Amber and I are at and like where Jacqueline's at or any other top coaches or where Amy's at to where you're starting, because we've been in this longer, we've been building this longer. So you can't compare your rank, your income, or any of that. We've just been doing it longer or more consistently. So give yourself credit, pat yourself on the back, and know that again, like, you're planting seeds and you're building a foundation, but it does take time. Like, this business won't grow overnight. It won't grow with it. Like, it will grow over time. Sometimes it grows slower. You're going to see ebbs and flows in your business too. And no, that's totally normal. But the more you show up, the more consistent you are, the more follow-ups, the more invites, like, the better results you will see. But especially as far as like replacing your income, that probably won't happen for, I mean, at least a year, depending on your rank and like the effort that you put in. But like having a newborn, like, it's going to take time, and you just have to be patient, and you have to be willing to keep showing up through those ebbs and flows. Like, it's again, holding on to that long-term vision and what you're working towards, and knowing that you have the ability, but being realistic about the fact it's not going to happen overnight. It might not happen in a month. You may not have that same $700 month this month or next month, but like, you are going to grow that. And the great thing is, like, as you continue to grow, I would also say bring on like at least 2 coaches a month, because in order to keep seeing those team cycle bonuses as an emerald, like, your team has to grow. That's the thing with team cycle bonuses, to keep having them, because people postpone their Shakeology, so that, you know, their order going through may not mean like you're not getting a team cycle bonus. So don't rely on the people that you've signed up. Like, keep bringing in new people, recruit those 2 to 3 new coaches a month, like, set diamond as a non-negotiable for yourself, and then making that diamond solid, and then 1-star and 2-star, and like really focusing on those long-term things, and like giving yourself a pat along the way. And again, knowing this business takes time. It's 110% worth it, but you have to be willing to give it time and put in the work.
Right. Thank you.
I just have one. Oh, sorry.
You're good. You're good. No, I was just going to say, does anybody else have it?
I just have one, you know, as like a newer coach, I think I'm kind of in Tara's situation a little bit, where we've been doing this for a while, but then I know for me, like, I have been a coach for a while, but not active, right? And so been active now, this is my 2nd month, and we're talking about boundaries with our time. And I just find myself like really grinding, like, oh, you're texting me at 7 a.m. because the email didn't come. Okay, I'm going to jump in the shower real quick, and that email is going to come. And like, just to build a base. And I'm thinking, but I could be wrong, I'm assuming, I guess, and I'm asking that if that's pretty normal, you know, because I was successful my first month. I don't know why. I think because I've been posting my workouts for a year, that people were interested by the time I did it. But now with my 2nd month, it's like, it's really about that personal connection. And so, you know, I am being aware of my boundaries, and at the same time, I find myself really ready to be there when you need me. Let's talk, you know? And so just kind of getting your guys' opinion on that as kind of creating the baseline and the foundation of my business, basically.
I'll say something really quick. Yeah, you had an amazing, because you've been around for a while, but you were a coach, didn't really do anything with it, canceled, came back. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, now, sorry.
Okay, maybe I had a bad connection. I was saying that you were a coach, but then quit and then came back. So this is kind of like, and I'm considering you a new coach, you know, like, I'm not even counting all that. And you had a killer first month, which I do think attributes to you having that consistency up to the point of like, okay, now I'm doing this challenge group, who's in, right? So my advice to you, I think it's normal to be like high energy, amped, excited to help people. That's a good place to be. But my advice is, you just don't want to create, like, yes, you want to be there for people, because you had mentioned some of your customers that even said, I was with other coaches that weren't there for me. So I think it's just important that you set boundaries, as far, just make it clear, like, hey, I'm checking in with everybody once a day. I mean, giving out your phone number can be a lot. I'm not saying I haven't done it, but just be careful. I don't want you to get burnt out. I don't want you to feel pulled when you've got like people texting you and you're dealing like, God forbid something happens in your life and you're trying to like handle your own stuff, because at the end of the day, we can't give if we're not filling our own cups or whatever. So
Right.
I have been there. I've like poured everything into people, and then I would maybe be clear about your expectations. Like, here's my challenge group. This, because I even had someone ask me like, how do you want me to interact with you? And I was like, on the bot app, because like
Yeah.
I will
Okay.
I will answer direct messages, but I don't want everybody to like, and people DM me, and I mean, I'm pretty like cool with whatever, but I realize that I need to, in my welcome email, I need to be like, this is how we're communicating. Of course you can answer people, but I think it's up to you to kind of set that tone of like, I'm going to, I don't know, like whatever that looks like to you. I think in the beginning, it can be normal to be excited and just help everybody, but you're going to,
Yeah. Well,
you can't do
go
that
ahead.
forever. I was just going to
And
say,
I
you can't
think
do that.
Yeah, and I think you guys bring up a good point when you like have a certain time slot, because it actually teaches them also that this is the time slot that I need to make my space around if I want to engage with my coach or get this, done or things like that. Thank you so much for answering, but I have to go live for the first time, but right now. But what were you about to say?
Yes, Emily.
Okay, I'll let you go, but I was going to say that's true, because you also want to set the tone for your team that you're building. You don't want your team to think they have to live on their phones and always answer. And so you're kind of setting that bar for like the people you want to work with. So
because not everyone's going to want to do it. Okay. I love you guys. Thank you.
Hey, I'm going to hop on with you.
Okay, we can end our call too. It's already 6 o'clock. Yeah. But thanks, guys.
This is great.
Yeah, this was good. And we're always here to answer more questions one-on-one too, if anyone needs help.
Thank you so much.
Have a good night, guys.
Bye.